Very well. And that it is only dividends that, as shareholder of GMPC, when it receives from JOHL, that would amount to an indirect revenue that then goes into the petroleum holding funds.
Mr. Chairman, yes. Mr. Chairman, we hold a contrary opinion that it is only dividends per se. Mr. Chairman, I'm trying to, as a committee, that's why we're trying to give the basis on which we have come to our conclusion. See, this whole transaction, to the understanding of PIAC, is an indirect, way of the Republic, gaining revenue from that transaction. That is, if you look at it from that perspective. And we are of the opinion that if you look at section 6 and 7, which we indicated earlier, the law is clear. This is a specific law created for petroleum revenue management, and there is a reason why it is taken from the ambit of public financial management generally, even though the rules still apply, to have a specific law for Petroleum Revenue Management Act. And Mr. Chairman, the committee's position is that to the extent that any amount received by government directly or indirectly from petroleum resources should form part of the petroleum revenues of Ghana. Okay. The committee is of the opinion
that is well said. Honorable Mesa, your last question on this point.
Mr. Chairman, I want to find out from the witness, having regard to what he just said, what he would classify as direct revenue and what he would classify as indirect revenue.
Very well. Honorable Alpha.
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, if you look at Section 6, there are some of the revenues that are clear in our minds. Royalties, that would be a direct revenue. Something like surface rentals would be a direct revenue. Corporate income tax would be a direct revenue. Additional oil entitlement would be a direct revenue. Mr. Chairman, when you look at, and even bonuses, if you have to consider the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act, would have to be considered as direct revenues. But, Mr. Chairman, when you look at the structure of this transaction, for me, I'm clear in my mind that I would even have suggested direct, but I'm clear in my mind it's an indirect.
Wait a minute. Yes. You don't know what is on our minds. You don't know what we ourselves think about this structure you are talking about. We're dealing with specific questions. You take us back. You take us back. I'm struggling. I'm struggling.
Mr. Chairman, the transaction, the nature we have now, would be one of those transactions PIAC could consider as an indirect.
Very well. Yes, that's okay. Now, Honorable Sami Ablakwa, your side has taken, so let's go to.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I will first like to place on record that those of us in Parliament who follow your reports keenly are impressed with the thoroughness of your work, and I want to commend all of you at PIAC for the work you do. You are working in the national interest and also for God and country. And I would like to also remind all of us that you are here as expert witnesses to assist the committee. And so we are only interested in facts. We want to unravel the truth. And so you are not here as if you like, an accused, for want of a better word. So I will adopt a different posture, a more conciliatory and friendly posture, so we can get to the bottom of the facts.
You would want to rephrase, when you rephrase.
I will adapt a more forward-looking posture, if you like.
As opposed to which one?
You say you don't like friendlier, and I just wanted to state.
No, as opposed to which one? You would adopt more friendlier.
You say you don't like friendlier.
No. As opposed to what, the hostile, whatever.
Yes. So you don't like the word.
Who is
hostile.
adopted the hostile?
I'm just making a general statement, just to establish a ground rules, in case those following proceedings are probably getting confused. Yeah. So if Chair, can I proceed? All right. So, Mr. Alpha. Yes. Section 7 of Act 815, as amended, provides that revenue due from the direct or indirect participation of the Republic in petroleum operations, including the carried and participating interest, shall be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. You have stated very clearly, emphatically, in your 2021 report and the 2022 media report, you highlighted the matter and said that you take the strong view that the section I just read, section 7, has been breached. I want to understand, with all of what has transpired so far, all the contestations, does PIAC still stand by what we are working with in Parliament, which the proponents of this vote of censure motion have submitted, that there is breach of Section 7 of Act 815, the Petroleum Revenue Management Act as amended? Do you stand by your report, or have there been any variations? If there have been variations, can you let us know?
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, in respect of this matter, we stand by our position.
And to be clear, what is that position?
Mr. Chairman, our position is that the revenues accrued from that lifting by JOHL constitute an indirect participation of the Republic of Ghana in petroleum operations, and to that extent ought to have been paid into the PHF. Respectfully, Mr. Chair.
Now, I want to come to your response to a question that Co-Chair Dr. Dominic Ayini asked about monies used to pay for the 7% share. Did I hear you say that you are not sure where those monies came from, whether it came from GMPC or it came from the Ministry of Finance?
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, we are well aware of where it came from. In a written report on the petroleum operations, January to December 2021, which is a response to PIAC questions at validation, GMPC has this to say. On a query in respect of paragraph 14 of that, which was that we asked GMPC to provide an update on the additional interest acquired by the state through GMPC in 2021 on the Jubilee and 10 fields from Occidental Petroleum, including the cost, ownership structure of the 2 fields, and any other relevant information. In response to PIAC, GMPC has this to say. The current ownership structure of the Jubilee and 10 fields are attached to this correspondence. Those ones are there, but essentially on the question you just asked. GMPC Explorer and Jubilee Oil Holding Limited are both 100% owned commercial subsidiaries of GMPC. However, the JOHL interest would be ceded to GMPC Explorer. Now it comes down. The shares of Jubilee Oil Holdings Limited, the company that owns the 7% commercial stake, were acquired at the cost of $164,798,691 million by GMPC through a share purchase agreement between Anadarko Offshore and GMPC, with monies advanced by the Ministry of Finance. GMPC is required to repay the amount advanced of the amount I have just realized. Yes, so the monies were advanced by the Ministry of Finance.
That is consistent with page 9 of your 2022 semi-annual report. Page 9, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I read. It says the shares of Jubilee Oil Holdings Limited, a company that holds a 7% commercial stake, were acquired at the cost of $164.7 million by GMPC through a share purchase agreement between Anadarko Offshore and GMPC, with monies advanced by the Ministry of Finance. GMPC has started repaying the advance amount of $164.798 million. Now, can you tell us, this advance by the Ministry of Finance, did you see any contract, any agreement? Do you know the terms when they're supposed to pay back this money? Because these are taxpayer funds.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, we do not know, because when we requested for information, it wasn't part of the information that was furnished to us.
Let us also understand. If you put a question the way you did, is it a suggestion that there was no contract underpinning the payments, or I don't quite get it?
Well, we haven't seen any contract, and I've gone through the 2022 budget, the media review. I've also gone through the 2021 budget, and this House, Parliament, is not aware of this transaction by the Ministry of Finance. I've also looked at all the appropriation bills.
To pay for the
yes, this $100 million transaction. Yes, it's not in any of the budget.
$100 million is the lifting. The $100 million is the lift. Is that a 164 you're talking about?
Yes, the 164. The
acquisition cost.
Yes.
You haven't seen any.
It's not in any of our approvals in this house.
Suggestion that we had it for free or something.
So I just want to know the source of funds, if they have an idea, or if they've seen that agreement. Because you only tell us that the GMPC has started repaying. How do we know if they are complying with the terms? That's why I ask, is there any contract? Is there any agreement? Have you seen anything to that effect?
Mr. Chairman, we haven't seen any.
Now, Mr. Chairman, the witness has told us that there was an initial attempt to suggest that there was an all clear from the Attorney General's department, and you say that you asked for a copy of the Attorney General's advice, and you did not corroborate or confirm that initial attempt that was created. Are you able to share with us how you come to that conclusion? Possibly, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask of our co-chairs if we can get a copy of that Attorney General's advice, because I haven't seen it. So that
does he have a copy? Did he say
do you have a copy here?
Definitely, Mr. Chairman, yes.
I haven't got a difficulty. I don't know whether.
So can it be tendered if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman? Because that document is very important. They say that the Attorney General is not aligned with with what GMPC and the Ministry of Finance, they appear to disagree.
Is that what he's saying? He hasn't said
Yes,
that.
he said that earlier.
Aye. Mr. What is that?
He said that PIAC, they were told that they acted based on Attorney General's advice.
That's
but when
right.
they requested the advice, when PIAC requested that advice, they didn't see that advice. They didn't have that understanding from the Attorney General's advice. So I think that is a material fact we need to establish.
Let's hear you on this point.
Yeah.
Let's hear you again. Sorry, you heard our colleague what he suggested. Is that what you said? Let's get it again.
Mr. Chairman,
you have the Attorney General's opinion.
Yes.
You said you read it, and then you said your response is. Let's hear you again to that.
our response was that we did not. First of all, we disagree if the import of the Attorney General's opinion was to suggest that GMPC could go the way they went, then we disagree.
No. You read the Attorney General's report. Attorney General's opinion. You understand perfectly what the Attorney General is saying. So don't say that if the import is that. You understand of it, and then you say that your conclusion on it is.
Mr. Chairman, our understanding was that the Attorney General did not okay what they have done.
That's your view.
Yes, that is our view. However, even if he did, we disagree. That's all.
If the Attorney General said corroborated what they were doing, you disagree.
Of course, Mr. Chairman, we are entitled to that.
I can't withhold your feelings and how you feel about it. But at least we know what the Attorney General said. And the import of it, that's the important thing. The import of what the Attorney General said is whether to agree with what they did or not to agree with it. And that, I think you should go on record again. You are saying emphatically that what the Attorney General said is in sync with what they did or not.
I'm getting confused with that question. I don't know.
Part of it confuses
because what we are clear in our minds that we have read the Attorney General's opinion, and as a committee, we were of the opinion that the Attorney General did not, in fact, say that, for example, monies to be lifted by this subsidiary should not come to the.
Does it talk about liftings, the Attorney General's
at all?
Yeah, so
exactly.
So we're talking about what's in there. You understand of what?
Yeah, so that's why we said that GMPC is relying on this as one of the bases on which they have gone ahead with this transaction.
Sure.
And therefore, based on that, JOHL could lift this, and it doesn't have to come to the PHF. So our position is that.
That's not what the opinion says.
No, yes.
Leave it there.
So thank you so much.
So, Mr. Chairman, I was waiting for your ruling. Can he tender the Attorney General's advice?
I have no difficulty at all. Yeah, it's a public document. I've seen a copy. I've read it, so I don't have a problem. My colleague has a copy. I've given him. So, yeah, that copy is there.
So you can. But not tender, you can give it to the committee because you are not the author. So actually, in strict sense, you cannot.
Because he's talking to it.
Yes, because you are talking to it, and you mentioned it. No, you mentioned it in your report. Okay, in the report you said the GMPC indicated that they had sought the Attorney General's opinion before entering into the transaction. PIAC's study of the opinion reveals that the Attorney General did not comment on the issue of the advance by the state. You stand by that factual statement you made. That's fine. So can we have the copy of the Attorney General's opinion tabled to the clerks? I don't think you have any obligation to further comment on the Attorney General's opinion. You don't have to second guess it. The committee will take its own view of the matter. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I proceed. So, Mr. Alpha, you also state in your report that, quote, I'm reading from page 9 of the 2022 semi-annual report. Although the acquisitions were initially intended to be held by GMPC ex loco, they are in fact being held by JOHL. Page 9, second paragraph below the table. 2022 semi-annual report. And at the time you wrote this report and submitted to Parliament, this is January to June, you also add that this is not registered in Ghana. JOHL is not registered in Ghana. You are right as at that point, because my checks indicate that JOHL has now been incorporated, but only from the 15th of August 2022. The incorporation instruments which I have here. So you are right that January to June, JOHL was not incorporated in Ghana. But can you tell us why you say that the initial intent was that this acquisition was to be held by GNPC's Exploco?
Mr. Chairman, I have indicated earlier that GNPC communicated to us in an earlier communication that the acquisition will be transferred to Exploco. Even in the most recent communication, which I just read a while ago, they still says it will be transferred from JOHL to Exploco. But as it stands, it has not been transferred. Why the transfer is not happening, we don't know. So that is the case.
Are those documents you are willing to share with us?
Those are documents we officially received from GNPC itself, and I'm sure if Mr. Chairman would allow that, we wouldn't have a problem.
Okay.
GNPC is here. They will take their turn afterwards. If you can just indicate the nature of the documents to us, we will ask them questions in respect of those documents.
Mr. Chairman, this, for example, is report on petroleum operations from January to December 2021, response to PIAC questions at validation presented to Public Interest and Accountability Committee on April 2, 2022. That was the date they presented this to us. And Mr. Chairman, at paragraph 4, that's where these queries, our queries on this matter came up when we asked them to provide an update on this additional interest acquired by the state through GNPC. And so they gave us responses to our query. So paragraph 4 of that document is where you will find this information, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, at the heart of all of this and why PIAC was established and why we spent so much money to enact the PRMA is so we will learn lessons from how other resources, mineral resources, have not been very much managed to the expectation of the Ghanaian people. And also at the heart of this is how we can ensure that we maximize returns and the Ghanaian people are served properly by the decisions that we make. Now, I see that at page 10 of your 2022 semi-annual report, you indicate that this whole arrangement has led to a situation where Ghana has been shortchanged in terms of capital gains tax. And if I can read from paragraph 3 at page 10. Contrary to Section 6E of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011, Act 815, capital gains tax was not assessed and collected by the Ghana Revenue Authority in the sale of the 7% interest by Ad-hoc in the Jubilee and 10 fields in 2021. In its written response to PIAC on the matter, the Ministry of Finance referred the committee to the Ghana Revenue Authority for answers. The Ghana Revenue Authority, in turn, referred the committee to the Ministry of Finance, indicating that the ministry was exclusively in charge of the transaction. In all of this, the Ghanaian people have not received their taxes. Where are we on this matter? Who is really responsible? And do you, by PIAC's assessment, do you think that we can get our capital gains tax back?
Mr. Chairman, it is the duty of the Ghana Revenue Authority to assess actors in the petroleum industry to taxation and also to collect revenues, as the PRMA itself requires. Mr. Chairman, however, when it comes to dealings with the, in respect of acquiring interest and all of that, it is essentially a policy decision by government, and so that will be handled at the ministerial level or the ministry's level. Mr. Chairman, that was the reason why we wrote to both the ministry and then to GRA, asking that in all the data that we have received, we have not seen evidence of assessment of that transaction to capital gains and all of that. And that was when we received those two responses from both the ministry and then the GRA. The ministry, GRA is saying that the whole transaction was exclusively in the hands of the ministry and that they were not called in to aid in any way. And the ministry says, since GRA is responsible for assessing entities to taxation, we should go to GRA for answers. Mr. Chairman, we're left.
Bear with me. When was the last time you checked on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, this is the report. The subject matter of this discussion is from January to June. So, Mr. Chairman, as at 30th of June, this is the position.
You had checked. You see how much I myself have been making quite a lot of noise about taxation and how these companies and what. So if I said to you that they had paid about 169 million on some of this, in capital, whatever, combination of this, about 169. Clearly over 160 million has been paid. Would that satisfy you? Would that comfort you?
Mr. Chairman, that would not comfort me because I have a statutory duty to have been informed of that.
No. I'm saying that I think the worry is that that's what the point Sami was making. Ghana seems to have been robbed of so much money. But I'm telling you that, considering the fact that I have made more noise than you have made on this taxation thing, if I said to you that at least about 160 million may have been paid, would you be comfortable? That it may be belated. You may not have been informed, but
Mr. Chairman,
so much has been paid.
As a respectful lawmaker, I can take consolation in that with the hope that that reflection will come to my notice as a member of PIAC when they finally submit data.
I understand that,
for the
you will be notified. You'll be happy about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, no, Chair. This is not a question, but an application to the co-chairs.
Yeah.
When the proponents appeared before us on Tuesday, they made reference to other PIAC findings contained in various PIAC reports. I have questions on those matters as well. For example, you recall they said that the finance minister is not complying with the Supreme Court decision in the Podo case. So, to do with the 5%, Podo and the Attorney General. Now, those are matters not related specifically to this. So, but the proponents have raised it, and it's before this committee.
Let's be careful, the time limit and all of that.
So my application is that will we have the opportunity, since they are here, so that because
you're on the finance committee, aren't you?
No,
not the finance committee.
No, you see this. No, it's before us. The proponents have submitted it. It's in evidence. No, I'll summarize.
Let me understand. Quite a lot of things have been said, but we know the specific issue which is brought to us here. It is the 3 illegal payments of oil revenues into offshore accounts in flagrant violation of Article 176 of the Constitution. We asked them, I think what Haruna I specifically put to him, or maybe Ato, and he said that no, it is in respect of the JOHL thing. And then we talked about the S, the plural, when you talk about the accounts, and then they said that, well, it is specifically about this, but they may have more than one account in relation to that. Why don't us...
No, but you recall that they led evidence on the Podo case, and also the 1.3...
Quite a lot of evidence may have been...
The 1.3 billion,
each one of them.
the 1.3 billion oil revenues missing. Those are, at least those 2. If you allow me.
They are not before us. They are
no, they are. They are before this committee, co-chair. They are before this committee. No, they are before this committee.
Shall we switch off the things again and then confer?
Yeah.
No, he's made his application.
So honorable members, the application made by the Honorable Samuel Okujeta Blakwa relates to evidence that was led by the proponents of the motion with respect to other findings made by PIAC. And that was very well. No, and I think the application.
But he's not making it to what? And then we don't agree with you. No, but he's not making a ruling. Calm down, honorable member. He's not making a ruling. He's making a comment. Let's listen to you.
Honorable comment, you may do. You're out of order. If you want to challenge the co-chair, you need to do so by a substantive motion on the floor. Very well. So the point is that evidence was laid on other findings made by PIAC. All right. When that evidence was laid, okay, we did not object. I mean, we did not refuse to admit the evidence. Now, PIAC is here. What the Honorable Samuel Okujeta Blakwa is saying is, can we just ask them to confirm those things for what they are worth? Okay, so honorable members, it is for your consideration.
No, PIAC, we have PIAC to come before us any time they want to, or we want them, for them to explain all the gamut of whatever they want to explain. For now, I think we are limited to the scope of what is on this thing, this particular document, and it is what the proponents indicated, that so much money had been paid into some account or accounts. So all the other bits of evidence that they gave are not relevant, not probative of the point that we're dealing with. So that's how I say that. Let's take ourselves to this and then make some progress. Not every single whatever that they refer to.
Honorable Patrick Guama.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Yes.
For the opportunity. Alpha, do you have a copy?
Let's finish with my application.
Honorable Patrick Guama, I thought you were going to comment on the issue raised by the Honorable Samuel Okujeta Blakwa as to whether or not we as a committee should ask PIAC to confirm the evidence that was given with respect to other violations. Can you...
that would be totally out of their ambit.
Very well, very well. So, Honorable Ahiefo, on that issue specifically.
Yes, Honorable Co-Chair, we must look at the PIAC report and see whether PIAC has reported on the issue relating to Benjamin Kodo versus Attorney General, as well as the 5% of the revenue. If PIAC has reported on that, basically we cannot say once PIAC is here, we should allow them to go, so that if you need them on that aspect of their report, we bring them again. However, if the case of Benjamin Kodo is not part of PIAC report, then we cannot be questioning PIAC based on it. But so long as it is part of PIAC report, and we have the opportunity of PIAC sitting before us, nothing precludes a member from asking a question.
No, don't ask the member. Don't. Honorable. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Katie. Yes. Honorable Kwame Imedu.
Mr. Chairman, I think this committee is here we have been, the Speaker had referred us to deal with a motion.
Very well.
Amongst other things, the sponsors of the motion had actually given their reasons in support of the motion. And they have made, permit me to use, allegations. And one of the issues they raised, they bordered on excerpt of PIAC report. So he invited PIAC to actually speak to that portion that the sponsors of the motion had referred to. With a greater respect, we are not here to actually scrutinize the reports of PIAC. We are here, we invited this witness to actually solicit from the witness some allegations that have been made in support of the motion. So if we have to say that we are going to consider all the PIAC reports, which of the years? Are we starting from when the PIAC was formed or what? So I think we would be going too far if we have to. We will be deliberating on other things.
Yeah, very well. Honorable Katie, just a minute. No, this month. Okay, Honorable Mensah, what is your view with respect to the application of the Honorable Okujeta Blakwa?
I disagree entirely. My reason is simple. This Parliament of Ghana has a standing committee that has the responsibility of addressing all the issues that have been raised in PIAC reports. The work of this committee is simple, and it is to the point that some illegal payments have been made from liftings by JOHL. And so I understood PIAC's presence here to respond specifically to that issue. And so if the suggestion is being put across to the effect that we should open up and interrogate PIAC or seek their views on all matters that are contained in the PIAC report, I think that will be unfair. Indeed,
very well.
It is the reason, Mr. Chairman, if you permit me. Mr. Chairman, if you permit me.
Oh yeah, go on.
Indeed, it is the reason why I agreed with the Finance Minister's Council that it was important for some particulars of the allegations that have been leveled against him or the grounds that have been raised to be given to him in writing, just so that we prevent this type of fishing that members of this committee or some members of this committee
I would respectfully instruct that the reference to fishing be expunged from our records. No one is attempting here to engage in any fishing for evidence. Honorable Senator Rollins, do you have an opinion on this matter?
Thank you, Honorable Co-Chair. I believe that there were issues that were raised by the proponents of the motion on Tuesday. They mentioned specific issues. And as part of our job, it's to unearth whatever facts are available to that. Now, given the fact that reference was made to other matters besides the JOHL, this request by Honorable Ablakwa with regards to giving PIAC an opportunity to speak to some of these things also makes reference to their report. So it's not about looking at the entire PIAC report. What it is about is getting some supporting documentation for what the proponents of the motion presented on Tuesday when they came before the committee.
Okay, so it appears that the committee would be evenly split on this application that has been made. Besides the two chairmen, it looks like the members are split. Down the line. By our practice in Parliament, unfortunately for you, Honorable Okujeta Blakwa, by our practice, once there is a split, the motion is lost. And unfortunately, we cannot, accede to the request for your, the matter to be considered. Yes. Okay. So now it is a turn of. Are you done?
Well, very well, Chairman.
Okay.
I will respectfully accept your verdict.
Very well. Honorable, no, I think, yes, he was done.
Yeah.
Okay, Honorable Patrick Boma.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Yeah. After that, we'll go to Honorable Zenato.
Alpha, I believe you were invited here to throw light on a few things with regards to what the proponents of the motion have alluded to, especially paragraph 3. I don't know if you have a copy of the motion.
No, Mr. Chairman.
But I can read to you. The terms of the motion are as follows. 3, that this House passes a vote of censure on the Minister responsible for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, in accordance with Article 82 of the 1992 Constitution on the following grounds. Emphasis on 3. Illegal payment of oil revenues into offshore accounts in flagrant violation of Article 176 of the 1992 Constitution. You've worked at the PIAC Secretariat. You are the coordinator.
I'm the Vice Chairman of
Vice Chair. Fine. So you are seized with a lot of information. In preparing this half-year report, did you come about or across any illegal payment into any such offshore account from the Finance Minister?
Mr. Chairman, what we found was that monies that we are convinced are legitimate revenues that were meant to be deposited in the Petroleum Holding Fund did not or were not deposited there.
But is it the responsibility of the Finance Minister to make those payments?
Mr. Chairman, I doubt PIAC is in the, how do I put it, in a position to categorically say that is the case.
Very well. Do you know when the JOHL entity was incorporated and where? Do you have an idea?
Mr. Chairman, we had a response. We had some responses from GNPC on that. I mean, in terms of incorporation, all that we knew about. I mean, because it wasn't, that aspect wasn't officially in terms of exactly when and all of that. But the idea is that, or what we got from GNPC was that it was incorporated in Cayman Islands prior to the acquisition itself.
So it's a fact that this entity existed before this transaction.
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman.
And it's now been totally transferred to GNPC as an entity. And GNPC owns 100% of it.
And that's the information we had.
That is the information, or you can confirm?
Mr. Chairman, that is the information we had from GNPC.
GNPC confirmed to you. Okay. On capital gains, your report is a half-year report to this House. I don't have any confirmation whether the Speaker has even referred it to the Committee on Mines and Energy or Finance Committee to look at and to report to the House. So it's not a final report until those committees look at it and present their reports. You agree with me?
Mr. Chairman, that is so. Actually, the practice has been for us to come before Parliament in respect of our annual reports, not our semi-annual reports.
So this is not your full year report, full year's report.
Mr. Chairman, that will be right.
Please. I know what I'm doing. So it is possible that there are inaccuracies in your report.
Mr. Chairman, I totally disagree with that.
I said it's possible.
Mr. Chairman, I'm disputing the possibility.
I'm saying this because one, you've admitted before us that at the time you were preparing this report, you hadn't gotten confirmation from GRA that capital gains tax has been paid.
Chairman, on that, I indicated that we wrote to GRA and GRA responded, saying that they were not even called in to assess in the first place. That was my position, Mr. Chairman.
But we've told you, the chairman told you, that that wasn't the accurate position.
Mr. Chair.
But no, that is unfair, because your questions should be based on the report. So at the time of their report, the position was what is reflected in the report. If there are subsequent developments, okay, I don't think that the witness is in a position to answer to those. GMPC will be coming, and if we want, we can call Ghana Revenue Authority to come and confirm those facts. Thank you.
Alpha, I have...
Mr. Kocha, before you do, actually, I can help you with some information. You asked whether he is aware whether the Speaker has referred the document to. What the Speaker is actually referred is the 2021 report, which has been sent to the Finance Committee. We sat on there, and this is the report showing. This is the report which has just been signed by Clerk and the Chairman to the committee. So the current one is not before the...
So we want to tell you that...
Chair, if I may also add, as a matter of fact, the 2021 full year report, the annual report, also captured this matter. Is there? So I don't think that my honourable colleague respectfully...
So no questions should be asked of the witness about subsequent developments. Honourable Patrick Bowman.
It's fair, but you referred to the Attorney General's opinion, which is dated the 6th of July 2021. I also have with me the GRA's report on the refinance dated the 30th September 2021. Gentlemen, please, if I can have your ear. Dear Sir, financing the cost of acquisition of 7% stake in Deepwater Tunnel and West Cape 3 Points block in the proposed sale of entire issue share capital of an Ad-hoc company. This was authored by the GRA and signed by Edward Jamra, Head, Domestic Tax Division for the Commissioner General. Please.
Yes. Yes, Honourable Ahiafo.
Co-Chair, with all due respect, Honourable Patrick Boma is referring to a document, but that document is not in evidence.
Precisely. Well, I think we can answer our colleague. I think to respond to what he said, Nigeria had said something. He has something rebutted. When he finishes, he'll put it on the table for us, I think.
Yes, but the document must be in before you ask
don't refer to it and then you throw it on the table. My friend.
Chairman, I'm being interjected unnecessarily.
Chair, it's important to agree on the ground rules. You remember the tough time I had on the first day referring to the Special Report Auditor General.
You forced me to readmit it or something.
So let's agree on the ground rules. Can we? Because I also have tons of documents that are not in evidence that I would like to refer to and ask questions. So let's just agree. I have no difficulty with Honourable Boama proceeding. I think it helps the committee's work. But let's not create different rules for
the value of this document is where the witnesses specifically made the point that, well, the attorney, the auditor, what's the name? GRA made specific assessment. They wrote a letter in which they said A, B, C, D. It seems to have something which is not entirely reflective of what he's saying. So he's suggesting it to him and then put it to us. So,
Chairman, for the record, at the time that we admitted Mr. Kudjato's report, nobody sitting before us had made those allegations or assertions. But you sought to put it in, but we agreed for what it was.
Well, I'm going to argue among ourselves, so make your question.
Chairman, let me go on.
Put your question.
I have with me the document from GRA on the capital gains tax that you've told this committee that you were unaware of, which was authored on the 30th of September 2021. And I'll read to you the considered opinion of GRA on the capital gains tax that you've told us that you were unaware of. 1. Flowing from the above, we'll tender this document. If you don't have it, we'll give you a copy. We have the considered opinion that 1. Since an Ad-hoc company and its affiliates have been assessed to tax liability by GRA, the amount must first be calculated and paid into the consolidated fund in line with Section 3B of GRA Act. It is only when the tax has been paid into the consolidated fund that any allocations can be made to finance the proposed agreement. And it goes on and on. You alleged that GRA said they were not aware of this transaction. And this is an opinion from GRA on the same. Can you take your time, please? So, you said GRA.
Honorable members, order. Can we listen to the question
You
and
wrote
let the
GRA and
yes.
they told you they were not aware of this transaction. And I'm providing a document to disprove your claim. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, can you answer the question?
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, first, that particular document was never brought to the attention of PIAC by GRA when we asked for documentation on this matter. Secondly, and more importantly, we have a letter which is later in time from GRA to the letter that the Honourable Member just read, Mr. Chair. And that letter is dated 9th September 2022. And Mr. Chairman, with your permission, if I may read.
September 2021.
This is dated.
This microphone is on. 30th September 2021.
What you have is what?
Chairman, I have 9th September 2022.
9 September
2022.
What, 3 days ago?
Yeah. Not
Allow room for some metaphors and all of that. Yesterday, in terms of what we are talking about, 20 September, whatever it's yesterday. Yes, go on. What do you have? What does it say?
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, it's a very short one. I will just read it. We have validation of draft 2022 PIAC semi-annual report. Reference your letter dated August 29, 2022 on the above subject, requesting for a response on the following. I. Clarification whether any capital gains tax was due in respect of the sale of an Ad-hoc stake in the Jubilee and 10 Fells. I. If yes, how much did it amount to? If yes, was it paid? If no, why not? We wish to inform you that the transaction in which the petroleum rights of an Ad-hoc in the Jubilee and 10 Fells were transferred was handled by the Ministry of Finance exclusively. I have been directed to inform you that your request should be directed to the Ministry of Finance. Thank you. Signed, Samuel Saki, Assistant Commissioner Petroleum. Respectfully, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. Very important. Did you direct your query to the Ministry of Finance? Because GRA is an agency under the Ministry of Finance. GRA is an agency under the Ministry of Finance. Did you direct your queries to the Ministry of Finance?
Respectfully, we did, and we have their response as well.
Right, yes.
Honorable Boama, are you
going to read the Ministry of Finance. Please ask for the Ministry of Finance.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Very well.
This is the following the 2022, September 2022.
Yes.
Huh?
Give us the Ministry of
22, following this letter. No, I know that. So Minister of Finance responded to this.
Should have preempted this. I didn't take it along. Mr. Chairman, whilst my coordinator is looking for it, if I may refer the committee to our 2022 annual report, 2022 semi-annual report. Yeah. All right, Mr. Chairman is here. This is the Appendix 1 in respect of provision of information for PIAC Semi-Annual Report 2022 from the Ministry. My Lord, Mr. Chairman, paragraph 9 of that.
We'll be glad if you refer to us as a loss.
And that's because the co-chair is actually an associate justice of the High Court.
Respectfully, Mr. Chair, at paragraph 9 of that response, we have.
Can I get an understanding of the caption of the letter and when it was dated, please? It's very important.
Mr. Chairman, this letter was dated 9th September 2022. And the caption is Petroleum Revenue Reporting for January to June 2022 and validation of draft 2022 PIAC Semi-Annual Report. Mr. Chairman, this is the content. It's very brief. We refer to Public Interest and Accountability Committee PIAC letter number. They indicated the number. And then there are two of the letters we sent to them, dated 7th July and 29th August 2022, respectively, on the above subject matter. The Ministry of Finance has provided its responses to the issues raised by PIAC in the attached matrix labeled as Appendix 1. 3. It is the expectation of Ministry of Finance that these responses provided will be reflected in PIAC's 2022 half-year report. 4. We count on your usual cooperation. Signed, Patrick Nomo, Chief Director for Minister, and then copied the Chairman, PIAC. Mr. Chairman, when you come to the matrix, at paragraph 9 of the matrix, this was the response in respect of this issue. There we queried. We wanted the Ministry to clarify whether any capital gains was due in respect of the sale of Ad-hoc and Petro SA stakes in the Jubilee and 10 fields. Mr. Chairman, the response was this. The Ghana Revenue Authority is well placed to provide explanation on the issue of capital gains tax, if there were any. Full stop. Respectfully, Mr. Chair.
I think we can put aside this particular matter and then handle it at an appropriate time. Are you done? You are done? Okay, so
I'll just ask a last question on his, understanding of Section 7.2 of Act 815. Section 7.2 of Act 815.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
No, wait. He said he was going to ask a question. Have you asked?
Okay.
What was the question? I think.
Section 7.2 of Act 815.
The petroleum management.
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, as it stands now, there is no Section 7.2 of the Act because Section 7 was amended in 2015, Mr. Chair, and there is only one provision under Section 7. And Mr. Chairman, with your, if I can read that again, Section, right. If you look at Section 17 of Act 893, it reads, I know, but that's the Amendment Act. The principal, no, that's not it. No, that's not it. I'm talking about Section 7.
It's rather,
Just follow what I said. I may be misleading you.
No, you are right, sir.
Is it a 3 or a 2?
It's 2.
Which is which?
I'm referring to the provision that deals with the fact that the payment into the Petroleum Holding Fund shall be net of the equity financing cost, including advances and interest, net of the cash or equivalent barrels of oil that shall be seeded into the National Oil Company. I'm referring to that.
But you said that is Section what?
Which Section 7.2, and there's no Section 7.2 at the moment.
So Section 7 as amended is here in the Section 2 of the Amendment Act of 2015. Yes, you got that.
Mr. Chairman, we were in this house when we repealed Section 7.2. We repealed all those.
Section 2
all
of this. Section 2 of the
two, the 2AB, 3AB. We repealed all of them.
No.
So we only have one Section 7.
No.
In the
I'm trying to
amendment.
draw his attention to it that Section 7 as amended is in Section 2 and then Section 3 of the new Act. Then Act 8.
Yeah.
893.
Yes.
Amending the other one. Yeah.
Yes, and it's only one provision.
I'm not sure it's
You know.
So now Section 7. Section 7 now reads as. Do you have it, Patrick? Do you have it? So let's read it for you. So Section 7 as now amended reads that revenue. I think that's what you read the first time, isn't it? Yeah. So Patrick, there is no truth. It now says that revenue due from the direct and indirect participation of public in petroleum product operations, including the carried and the participating interest, shall be paid into the petroleum holding fund.
Yeah.
That's the new one. Yeah. You see what it says in Section 2, the rubric. It says that Section 7 of Act 815, that's the old one, amended. And then it says that the principal enactment is amended by the substitution for 7, the old 7 of this new 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question was based on the repealed law. Okay. So I think you don't have to answer it. Okay. Honorable Senator Ajiman Rollins.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mine is to seek as clear an explanation as possible, since I'm not a lawyer. The revenue that's being accrued from the JOHL accounts, is it being accounted for by GMPC per your information?
Respectfully, not in the way that we expected, because our expectation is for it to be deposited in the PHF. That has not been the case.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Do you have any information on who controls the expenditures of the JOHL?
The JOHL is 100% subsidiary of GMPC. So as a corporate owner, I believe it is the board, which is the directing mind of GMPC, that would have that.
And just for clarity, you do not have, is it a fact that you do not have access to the audited accounts of JOHL?
Mr. Chairman, at the time we reported, the company was not even incorporated in Ghana, which is itself a requirement of law under Section 70 of the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act, Mr. Chairman, 2019, Act 919. The requirement under that particular section is that any company or any entity that is to play an activity in the upstream ought to have been registered before it even ventures in. Mr. Chairman, at the time we were considering this matter, JOHL was not a registered entity under the laws of Ghana. Thank you.
In your report of the 2022 mid-year on page 9, the last paragraph, the last but one line and the last line, you have the JOHL lifted 944,164 barrels of crude oil in the first half of 2022, amounting to 100,748,907.95. Is that to say that this amount, based on information we've just been given, that the incorporation only happened in August of this year, is that to say that this amount that we're looking at here, the payment of which, the transaction happened at a time when by law this company was not incorporated under the laws of Ghana?
Mr. Chairman, that is true.
Is there a difference between the JOHL and the Explorco?
The chairman, clearly yes, because Exploko existed earlier as a 100% subsidiary of GMPC before JOHL was also acquired.
Is there a difference in structure given that both of them are now incorporated?
Mr. Chairman, they are both 100% subsidiaries, and in reality, there is no difference per se because they are limited liability. Sorry.
Do you have any information regarding similar situations with the Exploko with regards to where its funds are deposited? Maybe I should ask a straightforward question. Funds from Exploko, are they put directly into the Petroleum Holding Fund?
Mr. Chairman, currently is GMPC that gives Exploko money for their operations. Secondly, Exploko is yet to make any lifting in any block in Ghana, and so that issue has not yet been triggered on the side of PIAC.
My final question. Would you say, in your opinion, given what we have gone through so far, that there has been a lack of transparency and accountability with regards to the existence of the company we know as JOHL, to the people of Ghana, to Parliament, and to your committee?
Mr. Chairman, can I be directed on this question?
Honorable Senator, can you rephrase your question so that the witness can answer it?
Has there been a lack of clarity in your access to the accounting and deposition of funds from JOHL that has raised questions of transparency for you as a committee?
Mr. Chairman, at the point of writing our report, we had not asked for accounts of JOHL from GMPC per se. We were only interested in whether the monies have been paid into the PHF. So maybe if GMPC may be minded to give us all of that before the end of the year for our full year report, that probably would work, Mr. Chairman.
And have you had any access to the accounts, the offshore accounts of this company and the bank statements?
Respectfully, no.
Very well.
Let me make one before we. Sorry, let's get this on record again. When did you last sign off on your report? The media thing is June, is that it?
Yes, it's June. But normally our deadline in the Act itself is giving us 15th September for mid-year reports and 15th of March for full year report, the following year. So for 2021 annual report, our deadline for publishing would be 15th of March 2023. That is, if it is for 2022 annual report.
Let's deal with ones we have before us.
Yes.
The mid-year June 2022 that we have now. Your cutoff for report was cutoff
15th of September.
So when you say that at the time that we were preparing this and all of that, you meant 15th of September last?
No, June, 30th of June. Mr. Chairman, even though our reporting deadline is 15th of September, our consideration for the report should end on the 30th of June.
30th of June, which year?
This year.
This year.
Right.
You keep on saying that even at that time, you didn't know whether JOH whatever had been registered or not. Is that it? Is that the case?
Mr. Chairman, that is because we are considering matters from 1st January to 30th of June.
Understand that. So as at 30th of June, you're saying that it wasn't incorporated in Ghana?
Respectfully.
When was it incorporated in Ghana?
Mr. Chairman, actually, we have not been officially communicated to on that.
You haven't checked?
Mr. Chairman, we have had unofficial communication suggesting that it was incorporated later in time, somewhere August or wherever.
Later than June? Later than June?
Mr. Chair, yes.
Well, Chairman, wait a minute. Let me finish with mine.
No, you are asking of the date of incorporation. It's important for us to
make just one clarification on that.
I can read.
Mr. Chairman, if I can make one clarification on that, maybe I should have used the term registered,
that is the one.
because the company itself is originally incorporated in the Cayman Islands, but there is a provision that for you to undertake activities upstream in Ghana, you ought to be registered before you do that. And so if you are an external company, you should be registered, in Ghana.
Well, that's okay. Just clarification. That's okay. But the last one, how would you describe a dividend paid by, he's laughing. You anticipated the question, did you? Well, in that case, I won't ask the question. Give me the answer. What is the answer? Yeah. What is the answer?
Chairman, you haven't finished your question, so I don't want to.
You anticipated it. I thought you knew the question. All right, so what would you describe GMPC's payment of dividend from JOHL? How would you describe a dividend from the
Chairman, can I be directed on this? Is it something calling on my legal opinion? Is it something...
It's not law. I mean, you were looking at Section 6 of, you went through the Section 6 and were describing direct and indirect listen. So, I'm coming back to that. But actually, back to Section 6. If
yes, exactly. Back to Section 6. Mr. Chairman, dividends is one of the streams of petroleum revenues in this country. Revenue stream.
So will it?
I don't know why he keeps laughing. Why? Because it answers your difficulty or what?
Man, there's really nothing on that. I'm okay.
What is so will you qualify it as direct or indirect oil revenue?
Mr. Chairman, it is clearly mentioned in Section 6, so that's a direct one for me.
Very well.
So GMPC, we're playing the devil's advocate here. GMPC says, but what's your complaint? You said that we kept the money, whatever. We formed a company out of which we're paying you dividends. What's your problem?
Mr. Chairman, if you remember, I indicated that this whole transaction started from our exercise of Ghana's preemption rights to acquire the interest. So essentially, the information we had from the beginning is that it's the state that is acquiring this. Then later, the understanding was that this is a commercial transaction and that it ought not to. Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman, ideally, so for a state that is exercising preemption rights to acquire interest...
I don't like it when you take me back. A straightforward question. What would you say?
To give interest.
GMPC came and said, you are worried about all this and I've spent this as well. I've invested it here. I'm giving you back dividend. What would you say? GMPC says...
Chairman, that is not enough.
Say it again.
Mr. Chairman, dividends is not what was originally. It's not enough.
Okay.
It should have been there.
That's some answer. It's taking you 2 hours to give me this answer. Why?
Very well. Honorable Kwame Imadu. Any questions for the witness?
Yes, I have some few. Thank you very much, young man. I actually appreciate your interest and the passion that you have for the work that you do. You've educated us quite well, but I have some few questions for you. This report, the 2021 report, is it conclusive?
2021 annual, may I confirm?
Yes, is that conclusive?
Yes, that's the conclusive.
Has it been dealt with by Parliament?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
What processes did you go through?
Mr. Chairman, normally when we submit
what processes did you go through under that? No, he's not answering my question. My question should not start normally. I asked a specific question about 2021 annual report, and I asked what processes did you go through to complete the report?
And he's telling you what normally happens.
No,
that's what is meant by normally.
That's not normally.
So you should not object to his. Please, I think it is important that you just listen. It's a matter of style. That's his manner of speaking. So allow him to go on. And then if you have a problem with the substance of his answer, you can get back to him for clarification. Thank you, Honorable Kwame.
Mr. Chairman, we solicit for data from the various reporting entities under the Act. Mr. Chairman, we do independent analysis of that data to arrive at our independent judgment on the issues arising. Mr. Chairman, we bring all the reporting entities to a validation meeting, which is like an exit meeting, where we try to reconcile any inconsistencies between one or two reporting entities, or any disagreements between the committee as PIAC and the reporting entities. Mr. Chairman, we do all this in the spirit of transparency to ensure that our report stands the test of time. Respectfully, Mr. Chairman.
To answer my question, please. He hasn't answered the question.
In what material particular? In what material particular?
Mr. Chairman, I have a specific question about the 2021 annual report.
Very well.
What processes did the report go through?
Yes.
Because I am asking this to find out whether the report is conclusive or not.
Yes.
So if you could actually take me through the processes.
Well, that's their final report.
No, he said normally we do this, we do this. That's not an answer to my question.
It is.
I do not.
If you took out that normally, would that help?
If he had taken away that, he would actually say that I have done A, B.
No, not. Look, let's be careful here. This is not the witnesses' report. It is a report of the committee.
Yes.
And it is a published report. In fact, I believe the 2021 one has, Mr. Clark, can you confirm if it has been laid in Parliament? Yes.
And the co-chair even.
Very well. Very well. So it's a final report of the PIAC. Okay? So are you asking for the steps in the report writing process?
My question was clear. And you may want to... I refrain to say what.
Let's get it clear. So what do you want from him now?
Let me go on
for another question, since.
So if you insist on some answer, let's prune it down so he
That's
can.
Okay, I'll go on to another question. Sir, I had. Let me go on to this. At page 9 of the semi-annual report, you have already said this, and I want to repeat it. Section 7 of the PRMA provides that all revenues due from the direct or indirect participation of the Republic in petroleum operations, including the carriage and additional participating interests, be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund, PIAC, is convinced that the proceeds of things by JOHL forms part of Ghana's petroleum revenues and therefore should be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. What is your understanding of the indirect participation that you put in this report?
Mr. Chairman, if I may be direct, I've already answered this question. I don't know if you want me to repeat it.
Please, you can repeat your answer. But you know, in a very precise and concise manner.
Mr. Chairman, indirect would mean any other means by which revenues accrue to the Republic of Ghana which are not directly mentioned in the Act.
Would you say that what we are discussing, the investment that GMPC had made in another company, subsidiary, if dividends were to be paid to GMPC, would that be part, and for that matter the government, would that be part of the indirect gains?
Chairman, dividends would be direct.
Direct, not even an indirect one.
Chairman, the text in section 6 is clear on dividends.
Right. Dr. Zenato asked a question, and as part of your response, you agreed that the company, the JOHL, and the GMPC Exploco, they have identical structures. Is that correct?
Chairman, they are both 100% subsidiaries of the GMPC.
And they have, you answered, I'm quoting you, that they have identical structures. Is that correct?
So, Chairman, my answer was that they are both 100% subsidiaries of GMPC.
Okay. Now, at page 19, you have a report that you say is 11. But page 19 of what we have and we are holding, there are reports suggest that, and if I may quote here, this acquisition is to be transferred to GMPC Exploco and translates into this. So, in your view, if the acquisition had gone to Exploco, you wouldn't, and if I say in your view, I mean the view of PIAC, you wouldn't have had any complaints. Is that correct?
Chairman, GMPC Exploco is already an established commercial arm of the GMPC. And GMPC had communicated this, to PIAC, that this would be the entity that would be holding this interest. Now, our understanding when that communication was made was that in the final treatment of whatever will be coming out from there in terms of revenues, it will come to the PHF. That is the understanding of PIAC. So in actual fact, even if it had been transferred to GMPC Exploco, PIAC would still have held the same position if Exploco intended to use the monies for its private whatever.
So my question, what do you mean, or what is the meaning here at page 19 when you say that the acquisition should have been transferred to Exploco, when you know that it has similar or identical structure with JOHL?
Chairman, that was in the interest of corporate transparency and accountability. So, Chairman, they communicated to a statutory body established by this House through an enactment that it would be transferred to one company, and they did the other. Thank you.
I find it very difficult, Mr. Chairman, to admit or actually comprehend what the witness is saying. There are two agencies, subsidiaries that GMPC had created. And the witness is saying that if the payment or the interest, the investment had gone to A, he wouldn't have a problem. But if it had gone to B, now that it is with B, he has a problem. Would the witness tell us why you are not comfortable with this arrangement?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we said exactly that. I don't know. Maybe I have to be guided properly.
That's
Please,
fine.
you can either clarify or repeat your earlier answer.
Mr. Chairman, JOHL was not a registered company in Ghana, even at the time.
Well, PIAC, with the good work that you do, the chairman, the vice chair, the secretary, and whatnot, how do you, he is the vice chairman, how do you receive remuneration from the state?
Please, you are not, obliged to answer that question. The question is out of context and out of order.
Let's say maybe he's developing something on top.
No.
This is foundation.
No.
This is foundation.
Prima facie, the question is out of order. Yes. Please.
Is their salary based on a percentage of the revenue that Ghana accrues?
No, I don't think you should answer that question.
Chair.
I think yes. I don't think you should. I don't think you should answer that question. Because yes, what is the relevance of the question? What is the relevance of this question? Where are you headed? Where are you headed with this?
I want to invoke Standing Order 197 so that you can rule on it and we settle this matter once and for all. Order 197 provides the deliberations of a committee shall be confined to the matter referred to it by the House, and any extension or limitations to it made by the House, and in the case of a committee on a bill, to the bill referred to it and relevant amendments. So, Mr. Chairman, I call on you to rule on Order 197. These questions are totally out of the remit of the committee.
He had almost ruled on that.
No, but he was challenging the chairman.
Kwame, go on. Is there any other point? Yeah, go on. Any point?
Mr. Chairman, I can only thank the witness at this time.
Say it again.
I can only thank the witness at this time.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well. Thank you very much, the Honorable Kwame Imadu. Yes, so Honorable I'm here for MP for Akachi South.
Co-Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity. Co-Chair, the issue before the committee is an amount of 100,748,907.95 per the report, which has to be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund, has not been paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. Converting this amount in United States dollars to Ghana cedis is a whooping amount that could have changed the economy of Ghana. Mr. Chairman, I am clear with the evidence given by the witness, and I intend to ask him no question.
Let me finish what does it mean?
He's satisfied. The member is satisfied that with the evidence adduced by the member, and he doesn't intend to ask the witness any more questions. Yes, so
I'm surprised.
Well, that's your opinion.
Alpha, a very good friend of Samu Kujeto Ablakwa. Very, very good friend.
Oh, please.
What has it done?
Don't impugn the integrity of the Honorable Samuel Okujeta Blakwa. Yes. Okay, so honorable members, I think we've had, we've spent significant time with the witness from PIAC. I want to thank him and his technical team on behalf of my co-chair for attending upon the committee. If there are any matters that we need clarification on, we'll call upon you to attend upon the committee. If not, you are hereby discharged absolutely from your task of appearing before the committee. Thank you very much for your service to the Republic of Ghana.
We are grateful, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for having us.
Before you leave, be mindful of this. GMPC is coming to give evidence. It might be in your interest to sit down there if you have the time. If you don't, nobody's forcing you. But you might want to hear what they say. I'm so clear in my mind, they won't be endorsing everything you've said so far. So if you want to sit down and listen to them, fine. If not,
yes.
The suggestion is that we do a lunch break among ourselves.
So we will have 1 hour lunch break and return here at
3:30.
At 3:30 is fine. Parliament did not make provision for GMPC. They are on their own.